Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Thanks for being here. Welcome back to this version of my studio. I decided to change things up again. Surprise, surprise, always changing things up here. But let's go ahead and say hi to some people in the chat here and see what we got going on. And reminder, if you have a question for me at any point, feel free to drop it in the chat. Start with the letter Q, and that way it's a little bit easier for me to find it as we are chatting today. Yeah, so greetings. Greetings, everybody. I'll see if I can grab some of these questions from the pre-chat in a second here. I do want to explain a little bit about what's going on in my studio, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I've got a couple other updates to share as well, so it should be fun. But yeah, as always, thanks for joining. Simon says 5 a.m. Wow, early. Just sat down at my desk, immediately opened YouTube and clicked this and boom. Well, welcome. Missing some lights on the wall. Yes, they're tucked up there still. We'll see if they come back. I'm still deciding what's going on. Oops. Did I miss your invite for today's show? Email. Uh-oh. Did that not go out? That's supposed to go out. Sometimes it breaks. No, looks like it should have gone out. I do have an email list, which is usually the best way. Usually. It looks like it didn't go out today. Oh, I broke it. It's my fault. I turned it off because, well, there's no point in turning it on now. Normally, if you go to news.aaronpk.tv, there is a link to subscribe to notifications. Oh, my super source is wrong because my cameras are all different. My super source box needs to go here. Normally, if you go to news.aaronpk.tv, you can subscribe and get notified when I go live. I turned it off because of, I didn't want one of the emails to go out for something. What was it? Now, I don't even remember what it was. Probably because it wasn't important. And I forgot to turn it back on. So sorry about that. If you did make it here, congrats and thanks for joining. Normally, it's more reliable than YouTube notifications unless I break it. So yeah, hopefully I'll remember to turn it back on after the show today. But yes, thank you. Okay, oh my gosh, so many questions rolling in. I'm going to lose track of these if you don't start them with the letter Q. So make sure if you have a question you want to make sure I see in my little list of questions, then start with the letter Q. Xteen says, what software am I using for the map? That is something I hand-rolled myself, some JavaScript using the Google Maps API and things like that. It's not really anything I can share, but a little birdie told me that it might be making its way into H2R Graphics. That's, if you're not familiar with that, that's a little thing that's actually making this little thing pop up. But it does a lot more than just that, and I'll drop that link in the chat. It is a great tool for doing graphics for your streams. You can set up scoreboards, timers, lower thirds. Just put messages on the screen, icons, tickers, all sorts of stuff, and in different colors as well. And you can also do chat with it. So you can show comments from a stream on using this. And there may, at some point, support the map feature. We will see if he can add to it. Okay. I am definitely losing track of the chat. So, wow, there's a lot of people here today. Let's scroll back to the beginning and let's grab this question from Carl. I saw this one come in earlier. How do you manage your networks and IP addresses? Good question. I don't do too much fancy stuff. Basically, I have a router in the closet over there, and I've set this studio network to 10.11.x.x, which that's the subnet for this whole network. And it's essentially just one giant pile of IP addresses. I have a convention that I've for different IP addresses I use for different things. And essentially everything is manually configured. So I try to configure as much manually as possible using the router itself, using DHCP static addresses. That way, when the devices turn on, they just get the address that I've pre-assigned. Sometimes devices don't support that, or for whatever reason, so those I'll manually configure. But I try to use the next group of numbers as groups of things. So most of my, let's see, what's a good example of this? Any of my streaming encoders and like the Magewell Pro Convert, any of those kind of things, I'll put them in .70. I don't know why I picked 70. So they're all like 10, 11, 70 dot whatever. Sometimes I try to make it easy to remember myself because I'll have to just go to this IP address a lot. So like for the Magewell Pro Convert, it's 70.77. That's just because I find that easy to remember. Some of the other ones are like 70 to 79 is the bird dog. Oh, apparently I repurposed that for a different one at some point. I have another SDI encoder at 70.72. And then there's other like 200 is what I use for the Raspberry Pi for companion. Actually, a lot of the video gear is on .200. So that's the ATEM and companion and stuff like that. Those are just, there's nothing special about those addresses in the network itself. It's just a convention I've set up myself. Separately from that, I do have a totally different like network. Instead of 10.11, I have 10.12 and 10.13, which I'll use for things that are not, that's actually a separate network configured on the router with a VLAN where it can't talk to the other network at all. And that's where I'll put devices I don't necessarily trust, or like some home automation stuff, or things that are explicitly just servers that I'm running. So like I have a little, a gateway that provides Wi-Fi to the neighborhood. That's using a local ISP. And I have a gateway dedicated to that running on a totally separate network. I have a APRS receiver to track planes. That doesn't need to do anything except get internet. So that's on its own little VLAN. But yeah, that's the TLDR. Where was I? There we go. Oh, IT never gets old. Thanks for queuing this update. The house files. So that is a new channel. Well, it's not that new. We've had it for a little while, but we finally started posting videos. The house files is a channel where Lily and I are posting podcasts about the process of building this triplex. And things are well underway now, so we decided it was a good time to start actually doing regular videos and regular updates. Couple videos out on the channel right now. I'll drop this link in the chat. It should also be linked from my channel, but definitely stay tuned to that channel if you are curious about the process. We're going through choosing flooring, materials for different surfaces. We have an episode about kitchen design. I should mute that. And then I also get to share drone photos of the construction, which has been really fun. I'm trying to find, I think there's some footage. Nope, no drone photos in the second one. Just this of the very empty wooden box, which there's, that's supposed to be a half wall. So stay tuned for follow this episode for updates on that, how that all went down. It's not all a smooth process sometimes. So yeah, fun stuff. Oh, Eric, Raspberry Pi should be 3.14. Very, very good point. Very good point. Chris, congrats on reaching revision 100 of the studio. Okay, so yeah, what's going on with the studio? I do want to give you a little tour of what's going on too, but maybe it's a little bit earlier for that. Too early for that. We'll get to that in a bit, but you may notice that my studio, my camera is moved back to where it used to be, and so is this desk. And I also have the other camera over there, although it's not actually set up right. But that's the other camera that I would normally shoot at the table, which I have been doing live streams from for a while. But I have been going through a bunch of revisions of this to try to figure out how best to use the space. It's not a huge space, but it is big enough that it should be big enough for everything I need to do in it. And I keep struggling with how am I going to arrange this? And then to add to that, now that we have like an actual clock ticking for when we're going to move into the triplex, probably at some point this year, I'm not holding my breath, it'll be this summer, but it should be by the end of the year. Then this becomes my actual home office also, because Lily is going to have an office in the new building, and then this is a separate building on the lot, but I will keep this as my actual office. And right now it's not my actual office. Right now it's my video studio. And back there is a giant mess that I have to turn into usable office space for things like printer or the vinyl cutter and, you know, other shelves for office things. So yeah, I've been thinking about, okay, if I need to turn this into my home office also, which it turns out has different requirements than what I do for video, then I'm basically doing three things in this. I'm using it as an office, which I actually have a ultra wide monitor at home, which I really like. And it's a great second monitor for a computer, but it's terrible for presentations and live streams because it's not 16:9. So you can't, it's also ultra wide. So if you try to share it in Zoom, people see a tiny little screen. And if you try to share it to a live stream, the aspect ratio doesn't work at all. So, but I like it for actually working on. I can have really long video timelines and things like that. So I want a desk for that. I also have a desk that I made at home, and I like that desk also. It's got some quirks, but I'm not going to get rid of it, and that needs to go somewhere. So I've got the home office. I've got this set for doing live streams, and I realized that when I do live streams like this, it's very, very different from doing a video about a tutorial or a product where I'm doing more just talking to the camera, and I don't, and then doing a lot of B-roll. B-roll being the main problem. So I thought that I think what happened was I had this desk for a while, right? And you remember seeing this desk with the monitors. I have a new angle from the back to show you, but this is what I'm looking at now. But you remember I had the desk rack here, and then I had like a monitor up there, and this was like the hub of all of the video gear. The ATEM Mini was the core of it. All the wires were coming in here. I had the snake going out to the table for the extra cameras over there. And then once I started like upgrading the gear, I got I added the TV Studio HD into it first of all, and then I have now switched to the Constellation. I've got more and more gear filling up in that rack. Oh, I just realized I forgot to move the plant back. We'll do that in a second. Yeah, great. Good job, Aaron. That's supposed to be in the gap there so that you can't see the gap and so that you can see the full rack. Anyway, what happened was I put the rack next to it, and I put it here, like over here, which was a really bad spot in the room. So then I was like, well, that's awkward. Let me fix that. And I moved it back there, and then kind of just started slowly shifting all of my live streaming and filming over to that table. And then it got really hard to shoot B-roll because I had all the monitors in front of me. So then I started trying to solve that, and it got to that other layout that I was using last week where I was using that opposite corner. And then that kind of cut into the space as well. So let me grab my little 3D view of this, because I think this will make more sense if I can share this. Does this button work? Sort of works. I need to change my super source macros back to the other camera. Super source desk camera, super source desk camera. Now that should work. So this is what I've got now. And the idea is I realized there were a couple of things I really liked about this layout, and it takes advantage of the space well. So this black wall or gray wall, I like the gray wall for B-roll because I can do this and shoot against either just make it gray or light it up with a light to get some color on the background. And then it's very clean and not very distracting for when I'm doing B-roll. In order to shoot B-roll, I have to be standing behind the table, like here, right? And then that's so I can actually get a camera at the right angle to shoot against that wall. Well, if I had my desk, when I had this desk over here, it kind of blocked everything. So I couldn't really use that anymore. And it wasn't working. And then the other part of this is if I want stuff in the background of my streaming shot, well, how am I going to get that? And that's my thought with this layout, where I am essentially taking advantage of the fact that there's this gap to shoot through that also acts as the distance between me and the background here. And then over here is where I'm going to put my desk. So that's just going to be like not on camera, or possibly I will put a camera over here so that when you're looking at me, you see this shot. We will see. But yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be a while before I get that desk moved in, because I still have to get rid of all the stuff over there. But a couple of things I really do like about this new setup. Let me get the wireless camera out. Oops. Let me get the wireless camera because might as well show you what I'm actually doing here. And let's see if where's the audio? Why is it saying no audio? Did I just turn it off? Oh, because variable frame rate is on, which I don't want. There we go. Still no audio. Maybe I should have, oh, there we go. Check, check. Hello, check, check. There, oh, there we go. Check, okay. Hopefully this sounds okay. I better test this before I go too far with it. I hopefully have a button. Check. Why are you so quiet? Oh. Check. Check. Hello. Why is it so quiet? Check. Weird. That's better. Okay. This is there's a delay because I'm going through this wireless camera, but this is the DJI mic through this camera. Is it still low? Because I've turned up every gain. We can boost it a little bit more here. Let's give it another 3. Still looks very low. Why? Huh. Yeah, it's still low. Okay, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, I know what's going on. The mic is set to, okay. The camera is set to line level mic socket, not mic level mic socket. I forget that the GH5 does that. This, oh yeah, okay. Now we have to drop it way down. That's better. Let's go down even more here. Check, check, check. Okay. This is going to, that's almost too loud now. Check. Okay, at least it's now nice and loud. There we go. Yeah, I forget that. Good point. Okay, Keith, thank you. The GH5 has a setting, which, let me see what's the best camera I can use for this. So in the GH5, I don't have a way to share this menu other than with a camera. The GH5 has a setting called, oh, it's hard to find that focus manually. It's in manual focus right now. There we go. Mic socket, you can either set it to mic or line, or mic with power. I'm not going to turn on the power because that might break the DJI microphone. This is where it expects to get it provides mic level, or it expects mic level input, and that's going to be, most of the little wireless receivers will send mic level out, but also like if it's an actual mic. But you can also set it to line level, which is cool because then you can connect it to like mixers. But we need to have it on mic in order to use the DJI mic. So now let's take a look at this camera. Oops, this one. Let's just set the ISO to auto, because there's a lot of different exposures in here. So what was I talking about? Excuse the giant mess, but a couple of things I like about this now. So this is the desk, and I've got two monitors, right? My multi-view, which is actually, I can reassign that to whatever, any input if I want to see it full screen. That's the computer. There's one cable here which I need to clean up, but this is an important trick. The computer monitor is actually being fed directly out of the computer, not through the ATEM, and that's why I get no delay on it. I got another monitor up there just for the streaming status. Speaking of streaming status, why am I offline? What? I'm not offline. The web presenter just crashed. Well, that's nerve-wracking. Look at this. It's frozen. The audio levels aren't bouncing. It's completely locked up. But I see that I'm still on YouTube, showing you. Oh. Okay. I don't want to reboot it. I will reboot it. I'll clean it up. This is weird. This is weird. This has not happened to me before. Okay, we're gonna do a little emergency live stream surgery. You ready for this? This is not, I don't know what's going on here. So we're gonna go and we're gonna, you are still alive. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna do a quick reboot. Yeah, audio's out of sync because I was using the wireless mic. What are you doing since this happened to our ATEM Mini twice in the last 2 years, frozen stats, but still streaming? Interesting, I've never had it happen on the ATEM Mini, but yeah, we can do the web presenter. Oh yeah, use the backup stream. That should work. Let's see, I can push to YouTube from the other ATEM, which is set to camera 4. Let's see. ATEM outputs, ATEM Mini 4 gets ME1. So I should be able to push to the backup URL. That looks like not my key. Streaming key to the secondary, pushing to the backup. Let's do something to make it obvious that we're on the backup by setting a graphic in the media pool, and then we're going to do a transition to it that's going to be only part way. So when it fails over, you should see a graphic with over the stream. Cross your fingers. That is streaming. Yeah. So I'm going to reboot the web presenter, which I can do with this thing. So that's off. Let's see what happens. There it is. We're on the backup stream. You can see the overlay from the graphic, and we can turn it back on. And there it goes. Let's start streaming again from that. And are you going to go? Nope. There it goes. And then stream off from the other one. And is it going to fail back? There it goes. Okay. Well, that's how to save your live stream. If you're, of course, it'll be smoother if you're not also the talent, but that's the benefit of having two encoders. Hopefully you're, hopefully you would have, that would have not interrupted the content. You shouldn't have seen any gaps in the actual content when I was doing that. Maybe half a second or so. So pretty smooth. Thanks. Got to the second stream. It is weird how the web presenter would show no stats and still be sending the stream out. Not only did it not show any stats, it actually showed off air, which is very weird. Transition back was hardly noticeable. Good. Disaster recovery drill live. So let me step through what I just did, because that is definitely worth knowing how to do that yourself. YouTube provides two different stream URLs, primary and backup. So this is a great reason to have two encoders of any kind. Doesn't need to be ATEMs. The web presenter crashed and it was still streaming, but I was able to push to the backup URL from a different ATEM. And because the Constellation HD is not part of the stream, right? The web presenter just streams whatever the Constellation gives it. Let me see if I can pull up this diagram. So the ATEM was fine. It has a bunch of outputs, and yeah, we can do this. So one of the outputs of the Constellation goes to the web presenter. A different output goes to this ATEM Mini. So what I did was I assigned output 4 to input 4, which was the main program of the Constellation, setting the main program to that ATEM Mini, started streaming from that ATEM Mini to the backup URL. Then, as soon as the web presenter actually stopped streaming because I pulled the power cord, then YouTube will just seamlessly fail over. The trick to make sure that you could see if it was actually on air was doing this partial transition just to get something over the top so that you could actually see it. I could have spent more time making like actually this one would have been more appropriate, the no signal overlay. And that was so that we could tell which ATEM was, which feed YouTube was getting. So that was, yeah, that was the deal there. One of the other useful things that I have here is this network controlled power strip. So it's in the rack and it gives me these little buttons with this web interface that looks like it was written in 1995. Probably actually was. But I get these little buttons where I can turn on and off different devices remotely. So I could have physically yanked the power cord out of the back. That would have taken a long time. So instead I get this little button, which also means I can do this remotely if I need to. It also has this reboot button, which will shut it off, wait 6 seconds, and then turn it back on automatically. But I wanted to give it more time to turn off that way. You don't need this particular one, but this fits in the rack. There's other versions of this that are like Wi-Fi enabled or connected into a smart home and stuff like that. But either way, those kinds of things are really good to have. So, okay. Oh yes, good point. The only culprit would be that you need the upload bandwidth for the 2 streams. On some occasions that can get thin. It's true. On a cell phone that may not have worked super well, but that's another reason to get a secondary cell phone. Do a video on that for your channel, record it. Yeah, good plan. Can you adjust the amount of time off for the reboot? Yes, you can. There's a setting on this thing, which is somewhere in here. Somewhere in here is a outlet setup. I think that's where it is. Yeah. You can choose, you can actually change it per outlet, which is cool. Recycle duration in seconds. You can also choose what happens when this device boots up. So in a power outage, when that turns back on, what do you want to happen? I want almost everything to turn on, and then some of them turn off. You can also have it reboot every night, which frankly, I should probably just do to the web presenter because it is, I have to reboot it pretty often anyway, just because it kind of crashes. So let's reboot that at 2 a.m. Hopefully this is in Pacific time. I don't know where I set the time zone. Let's do that. Oops, interesting. Yeah, this is, oh, now I'm locked out. Okay, there we go. Can I do this? Now it saved it. Okay, weird. Sometimes it just does that. This is a interesting little device. What if you're going through a service like Restream? Does it take advantage of YouTube failover? Good question. The Restream, I don't think it does anything special. So if you were pushing to Restream and then Restream was pushing to YouTube and your uplink to Restream went out, it would also stop pushing to YouTube because it's not getting anything else, anything new. So you could do this. Does Restream have a backup URL? I don't remember. I would imagine it does. But in order to do what we just did here, you would have to stream to Restream's backup URL. Or actually, one other way to do it is to have Restream push to the primary, and then you could push your own feed to the secondary. So that is another way to do it, where if you don't, oh yeah, okay, so Restream does. You can add a backup stream. Oh, you have to have a business account, okay. So they're showing you this nice little diagram here. But yeah, you can add on a plan to get a backup, but you can also do it yourself. So you can push your main encoder to Restream, and your secondary encoder can push to YouTube directly. And then if your main encoder stops feeding Restream, Restream stops feeding YouTube, then it'll fail back to the secondary. The other important note about the backup URL on YouTube is the failover only happens in either direction if data stops flowing. So if you are streaming to the primary and secondary and your primary goes offline, YouTube will switch over automatically. If you start streaming to the primary again, it does not automatically switch back. You have to stop the backup stream, which I don't like that way of doing it because it's hard. It makes it really hard to see what's going on, and you get zero indication in the YouTube studio about what's happening. There's no indication in here about which stream is active. It doesn't even tell you in the stream health section. It's kind of bad. So I wish they would change that. I wish they would say, like, you are on stream A, now you're on stream B, but sadly that does not how it works. All these super chats coming in. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Keith, thank you for the super chat. Coffee reward, live YouTube, save training. That was fun. Thanks for the super chat. And also Bailey coming in with a super chat. Love seeing the live troubleshooting. Kudos to thinking on the spot and figuring it out. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was not quite willing to just cross my finger. Like the reason I have this whole thing, the reason I have this on the giant monitor up here is so that I can know if the audio is working and if you're actually hearing me and that I'm on air. And if I can't rely on that dashboard, then there's no point in having it. So that's why I was like, I'm just going to reboot it. I could have just rebooted it and it only would have been off a couple seconds, but it was more fun to do the backup URL and try to do it seamlessly. So thanks for that suggestion. Pat says it needs a failover and failback option. Yeah, it'd be even better if you could actually tell it how you wanted it to work. But even just showing the status would be helpful. Because actually, that's another thing that reminded me. This is all stuff this would make a great video. I should really actually organize these thoughts. If you start streaming to both the primary and secondary at nearly the same time, you basically will never know which one's actually in use because YouTube will start using whatever it gets first. And only when that goes away will it fail over. So it's really important to start your streams, start your encoder to the primary URL first, make sure you see it acknowledged in the dashboard before you start streaming from the secondary. Nice to see the Clarity M front and center in that BTS shot. Yeah, I thought this was a good spot to stick it. So here, now that we've got that back, let me get and I got my Stream Deck button working for the audio. Let's switch back and finish my little behind the scenes tour. Also, I really want to focus my overhead camera again, even though it doesn't matter. Okay. So it's back up here. A couple things that have changed on the desk compared to how I used to have it. First of all, I got a white arm because it looks better. But let's see. I have an overhead camera here, which I did not have before. And I'm really excited about that. That's actually on one of these monitor arms that I used to have the main camera on. I used to have the main camera on one of these monitor arms, kind of just attached in here. And now I did this for my overhead, which is a lot more stable than one of these kind of things, because this is basically, it can't move up and down. Then it's on this ball head up here so that I can tilt it whatever way I want. It's also flexible. I can move it in and out depending on what angle I want. Right now it's mostly directly above the front of the desk. And then up here for the camera, I'll come around the back. The camera is now attached to the monitor arm with this big vice grip with a little light stand peg connected to a ball head again. And this is super strong, not wobbly at all. So that I'm a lot more confident about this compared to the other version of putting it on the end of one of these. I have these two monitors here. Another setup here. I don't know if I'm going to use this one or not. I may take that down. But this is the other monitor, which I've got a little SDI to HDMI converter here on this little V-mount adapter that I 3D printed. So it's a little, there's no light back here. This is very hard. There we go. Kind of. Now it's not even, can't even focus. Anyway, it's a little plate that's screwed into the side of the converter that happens to be the size of a V-mount clip. That way I can clip it into the V-mount slot on the back of this monitor. Hard to do that one-handed. There we go. And then this light is on its own stand. I'm not sure. I don't want it on its own stand permanently, so I may either get a Varipole there or
switch the light for something smaller. This light, I like that it's attached to the table. This battery is almost out, so I'm gonna go over to my charging wall to get new batteries. There we go. I need to make a little thing for that. These are 3D printed for each of the chargers, so totally custom fit, and then they slip into the pegboard. And I haven't done one for that charger yet, so that'll happen soon. But the biggest difference is how I've got this table set up. So like I mentioned before, the, actually hang on, I need to change the battery. Let me come back over to the table and see
what's in the comments. Creepy mannequin is being creepy. Sorry. Oh, I could wear a headlamp for your walk around. That's a good idea. That battery should have lasted longer. Maybe it's just really old. Just got an email saying you're now live, possibly because you restarted the stream. Maybe, but YouTube's live notifications are just all over the place. Like, they're just totally random. So it could have just been, it decided that now you are interested. Have I played with the GH5 streaming feature? I have a little bit. This one's actually the regular GH5S. The GH5 is at home. Yeah, I've done a couple demos of it. I haven't used it in a little bit, but okay, I'll get to the other questions here in a minute. Is there any other questions about the studio, what I just showed you? Okay, I'll come back to these other questions in a minute, but I do want to finish walking around and showing you. The main thing that I wanted to show you was this table and the biggest difference here. So let's go back to the other audio
and the other camera. So I used to do all of my edited videos at this table, and then I slowly turned it into a streaming table just because I started, I don't remember exactly why. I started turning it into the streaming table by putting the monitors on this C stand, and then they were kind of like, you know, here and here, and they were really big, and that meant that I could not get back here to shoot B-roll anymore because the monitors were in the way. So what I did this time around was this is now on wheels. So this is my main shot for the videos I do at the table, but it's on wheels. So if I want to shoot B-roll any more space, I can just move it out of the way. And if you look, it's actually only, ignore that cord, it's actually only got, what is this? Five cords going into it. So there's SDI and Ethernet for the camera. There's SDI for this monitor, SDI and Ethernet for the camera up there, and then XLR no, that's actually going to this little audio interface. So SDI, Ethernet for 2 cameras, and SDI for this monitor. So that's the 5 cords. And when I clean this up, I'm gonna actually put these into a little bundle. I have that little fabric cable roll, and that will be the snake that connects this. The audio, that overhead microphone actually goes into this Zoom interface, which is a very nice recorder, and it does 32-bit recording, which means you don't really have to worry about setting levels anymore, and you can't clip it. And that is how I can record audio for edited videos, but it also then outputs to this camera. So that's how I can do it for the live stream. So I can turn on audio from this camera's SDI in the ATEM to get audio from this rig into a live stream. Or if I'm doing an edited video, I can record audio here, I could record onto an SD card here, or I can record into the ATEM Mini. And I still got an overhead, and it's all just on this one rig. And then this light is the main light for the table shot, and it's also on wheels. Also because if I need to do product shots here, I probably want to lower the light down, drop it lower to get more close in to be able to shoot stuff here. The Varipole right now is over here. It's got a secondary light on it, and it's got another camera up there for that rear shot of the desk, which I may not keep. We'll see how it goes. But I do like that it's cleaner on the floor here. Again, I'm going to clean up the cables. This was frantically scrambling last night to set this all up. But yeah, that's the idea here. And then for this shot, if I want a wide shot, I can actually have the edge of the shelf and rack and the edge of the desk in it, or I can zoom in for a closer shot of just the background and me. So I'll probably be doing a mix of those depending on the video. And oh, while I'm down here, I can move this plant back into its secret position to hide the mess. And now helps hide that. I'm probably going to move my 3D printer back down there where it used to be, which I liked a lot. And I'm going to clean that all up. Again, like I said, I spent literally all day yesterday.
All day yesterday cleaning stuff up. And I'm not done yet, but I got enough to be able to do the show today. So, okay, other questions about the studio before we move on. What color temperature are the lights, says Carl. Everything's about daylight. Oh, actually, these ones are warmer. This one's not supposed to be that warm. I think I just forgot to change it. Yeah, that one's set too warm. Normally, I would have had that. Let's see if I can do it here. The small rig app definitely is slower to connect than the Sidus Link. Okay, there's that light. This one is warm because I want warm on that side, and then this one's supposed to be cool. So it's supposed to be more like 5800. Yeah, there we go. That's more like what I wanted. Because then it's like backwards from the background over here. Over here is cool, so I want the cool on that side, and I've got more warm stuff over on this side, so I want it opposite. Having that space behind the pre-record desk is the right move. You will have to get back there. Oh yeah, totally. I also wanted to make sure I had room to get back behind to get to the rack. So, yeah. Plenty of room to rig up a cable cam. That'd be fun. What is the width of the room? Could you do a Varipole across the room like a grid and then drop down the softbox from above? Possibly, yeah. It's 12 feet. So what's that, like almost 4 meters? That way, and then it's 20 feet the long way. So 12 feet, I could do a pole across, I think. And I might do that for, we'll see what. That it would help with this light for sure, because this one's really eating up the floor space with that stand. Oh, hey, Darren, good to see you here. Just stopping by for a few minutes before settling down with the film for the evening. Well, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Dell Mix Edit says, are you eventually going to go with all one brand of lighting to only need one app, or are you using multiple apps? It is a little bit annoying that I have to use multiple apps right now. I actually have the main light over there, doesn't have an app, but I have it on a power switch that just turns on, which I like. I like that version a lot, actually. And then I have a bunch of Aputure lights, so I use Sidus Link, and that's the one in the corner now, and one of my lights at the table. And then because I did the gig with Small Rig and B&H, I have a bunch of Small Rig lights now too. And I think I might end up just getting it the way I want it to look, and then putting those on a smart power switch instead. That way, when I turn on the power, it just comes up, and it comes back with the last settings that you used. So that's easier than fiddling with the app all the time. What is the Zoom recorder? That is the Zoom F6. Yeah, it's a great 32-bit recorder. 6 channels, which is unfortunately way more than I need there, but I'm actually using the 2-channel version for recording the podcasts at home right now. Pretty sure Varipole manufacturers only allow floor-to-ceiling operation, not wall-to-wall. So they end up, what you do is you can put Varipole floor to ceiling, and then they do sell a part that you connect across. I think it's not the pressure fit Varipole though. I think it's just like hanging there. But you can do horizontal bars with those in some way. Keith says, can you create a second super source with all those status items for your confidence monitor, program, web presenter, status, multiview, the ATEM Mini Pro? Totally. Actually, you can do even better because the 4ME Constellation has a bunch of multi-views. So you get 4 multi-view outs. And I've routed all the multi-views back into the inputs so I can send them to any of the monitors. This is the main multi-view that I have on this monitor in front of me. But I've created other multi-views for different things. And one of the multi-views that I have is for when I'm using the studio remotely. So when I'm using the studio remotely, I want to see, this is actually pretty much, pretty much exactly. So the web presenter status, so I can see, am I live? This is when I go and pull it up in VLC, right? So actually I can do this. I have to pull up a stream key though, so 1 second. I put a SDI encoder in the rack, and that just means I can pull up the RTSP stream from it. And let's see if this works. Yeah. Let's see. So this works. Yeah. Oh no. So this works. Yeah. Mute VLC. So this is VLC, and I can pull this up over my VPN, right? So I can pull this up when I'm out of the studio using the studio. And this is what I want to, well, if I'm running a show, if I'm doing a show and I'm out of the studio, I want to be able to still see what's going on. Is the web presenter on air? Am I getting audio? What's the multi-view? Am I feeding video into the sources? So that's how I've got this one set up right now, where I've got, this is the main multi-view, but then these are the two remote, so the streaming bridge and the Pro Convert. Those are the two devices I use to receive remote video feeds. So I can be streaming from a YoloBox remotely, and it'll show up in this lower left corner, and then I can switch to that along with any of the other sources that are in the studio, which are things like the computer screen or maybe the Apple TV or what else would I do? I don't actually end up usually using many sources in the studio, obviously, because most of them are cameras. But it would be things like the graphics and stuff can show up there. So this is how I've got it set up for the remote one. And then in order to get to this encoder, I go to outputs. I think it's the, DD-mul encoder is this one. And then I can change it to 4, for example. And now this will change to a different layout. This is multi-view 4. This one I've got set up for testing the green screen, which I am not set back up yet, but testing the Ultimat. So I can see the different layers that the Ultimat is sending, the monitor, the background, things like that. So this one I could instead reconfigure for what would I want to see for this. So I want to see the web presenter status. I want to see I don't need to see the multi-view here because I already have it here. Web presenter. I want to see my wireless camera big. So if I'm walking around the room, I want to make sure that it's still sending video into here. What else did you say, Keith? Where did it go? Oh, I lost it. I don't have, oh my gosh, there it is. Oh yeah, multi-view the other ATEM, of course. So that little ATEM Mini ISO, actually I don't think that one's fed back in here yet. I should do that. I need to feed that one back in. I've still got some slots open. So that ATEM Mini ISO, I should route back into here so I can get its multi-view pulled up. That would be helpful. So I'll plug that into, let's say, 20 later. I'll do that. And then what else would I do? Maybe the multi-view. Maybe I do, no, the web presenter shows me the program out, so I don't need that. I don't know, computer screen. So let's see what that looks like. Now it looks like that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, the being able to use multiple multi-views is super cool, but also sending that out to an encoder is really, really useful. Now I'll close that. Thanks for your question. Okay. Am I using more than 2 MEs on the 4 ME switcher? If so, how? Not for this stream, not right now. I find that I don't need to do, there was actually one thing that I was using it for when I was doing my own stream. Now I can't remember what it was. It was a special occasion kind of thing. When it's just me switching between, you know, a couple different cameras in here, and I've got everything all set up with the overlays and upstream keys and all that. But one of the also with 2 super sources, I often don't even need multiple MEs for that. One of the things that is more useful with multiple MEs is when I'm not on the camera, because then also it takes a lot of extra brain power to figure out how to use all the MEs. So it's often too much for me to try to get my head around on the fly. What was one of the things I was doing with it? I think it was like setting up a scene, like a complicated scene with like my iPhone overlay, and then switching to that. But again, it's more when I'm doing a show with either somebody else's show, or if somebody else is a guest, then it becomes more useful to be able to use that. Oh, thanks for dropping the link to the stands, Bailey. Speaking of which, I should talk about a new photo contest. And I really need to fix my stinger. My transparency disappeared somehow. Okay, I'm excited about this. So we decided to do a new photo contest for the next month. And I'm gonna drop this link in here. The idea is I wanna see your setups and rigs that you're using with the PK1 stands. So if you've already bought one or are thinking about getting one, send in your photos, and you can send in your photos any way you want. So I'm using this Gleam thing just because it's a nice way to keep track of things, but share a link to your post, either through Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or if you don't want to log in with those, you can just post a link to your post here or post on some other platform, totally fine. Just take a photo, post it somewhere, send it in here. And I'm gonna have to change this to next week's live stream because I don't have a code here. I totally did not. That didn't make my checklist from last night. So unless I can remember what it is and then hide it somewhere really quick, let's do that instead. That's more fun. There will be a secret code at some point in the stream, and but yeah, so basically, the main focus here is the photos. So the photos is photos that you would share on Instagram, right? Like nice looking photos. I want to see fancy stuff. I want to share your photos too. So I want to share these photos on my Instagram account, help promote your business. So if you're using this for business, please make sure you mention what it is that you do so I can tag properly and like help advertise your stuff too. So that is that's going to be going on for the next month. There's going to be a couple different prizes. The main prize is a secret that I can't share yet because it is not yet released, but it will be a new product that will go along with the PK1 collection and ATEM stands in particular. It's a secret prize, but I'll at some point be able to share the picture of it once it's out. And then there'll be a bunch of runner-up prizes for some discount codes. So yeah, make sure you get started. You have basically 30 days. So the winner will be announced on what is that? I think it's February 19th. will be when we announce the winners. So yeah, that'll be fun. I wonder what that might be. I think somebody knows. Romkey says, I just installed my new PK1 stand. Very happy with it. I am so glad to hear that. Very glad to hear it. Now I'll share a picture of it. I want to see it. And yeah, just post a picture on some social media platform, or just put it up on a link somewhere, and it can be like it doesn't have to be public, but I do want to be able to share them. So yeah, make sure you let me know your social accounts and what business you do, so I can say like, hey, here's so and so, and they do wedding videography and things like that. And we can do a bunch of cross promotion. Okay, that is the deal. That is the deal. And let me scroll way back to a super chat from Lynn, which I skipped over before. Thank you very much, Lynn. Is there a way to do mix minus on the YoloBox Pro? When I bring guests on, it's distracting for my talent to hear themselves while monitoring the audio. I thought they had fixed that, and now I'm questioning if I'm remembering correctly, because I thought they had changed that in an update recently. But if not, I think it's on the list. So I don't think there's any settings that you can do. I'm trying to remember. I don't have it in front of me either, because everything is torn up in here. I don't have it in front of me. Oh, I can go. It's on that shelf. It is on here. You can show. Where's that button go? Don't I have a way to show you my multi-view? That's weird. Oh, there it is. It's hidden. I can show you the YoloBox and the stand, which are back there. So I'm gonna grab those. This. Let's take a look at that. Good timing for me to post that link. Yes. So the YoloBox, let's get this thing booted up, but this is the new stand design for the YoloBox. And I saw a question about this earlier. Where was that? Yeah, on the PK1 stand for the YoloBox, the latest version allows you to easily remove the YoloBox for grab and go use. That is exactly the idea with this new design. So the new design, the YoloBox just drops in. So this is the stand itself, one aluminum bar with the side pieces, and you can very quickly just set it in for desktop use. Oh no, no battery. This may not work. There is an update available. Nothing about guest mode there. Only 1% battery, so I can't show you right now. But yes, the other question was, can you drop it in, take it out quickly? So same idea, where it sets it at an angle so that it's a lot nicer to use on a desk. But then if you want to pull it out, you can just pop it out now. Okay, I'll have to dig into that guest audio mix minus issue later. It's weird because I thought they had fixed that. Ah, yes, that is the Aaron version missing the wire managers. That is the prototype I printed myself, but the real version will, first of all, look better because it uses better filament, but also has wire managers. Is it possible to preview YouTube, Twitch chat within the YoloBox while streaming? It is. As long as you're streaming from the YoloBox directly to YouTube using its integrated connection and Twitch, I believe it does Twitch. then it will use the API to pull the chat messages back. And yeah, I would show it to you, but there's only got 1% battery left. So sorry. Next time I'll have it plugged in on the desk properly. But yeah, you can go look at some of my other streams. Any other live streams I've done remotely, so when you see like a picture of a city on the thumbnail, go pull up any of those, because I'll usually at some point during that stream show you the YoloBox on the table, and you can see the comments come in. It is very cool though. Don't forget to like and subscribe, says Pat, thank you. Oh, Sven says, if it's a judge contest, why are the options to select more points by entering in different ways? Because the judging is not only based on the photo itself, but also based on how many points you have. I don't know. Mainly because that's just kind of how they set things up in Gleam, and I wanted to get a few actions in there because it's fun. Okay, we're getting dangerously close to the end of time here. Let me see if there's any other things that I want to make sure I don't skip over. Oh, I missed this one earlier from Peter. What equipment would you recommend for live Instagram to sell clothes? Camera, mic, lights. Would you recommend to use the InStream? Good question. The InStream is the YOLO Live vertical live streaming device. I've done a couple of videos about it here. I just did a little short about it. In fact, it essentially runs the Instagram app, but it has multiple HDMI in. If you want to use multiple cameras, that's a great way to go. And it also lets you use better cameras than your phone. That said, Instagram is also launching RTMP integration natively soon. No idea the timeline on it, but it does exist. It's rolling out to some people. No idea how long until it's widely available, but there is like actual documentation on Instagram's website about it, that it will exist soon. That said, in order to actually use that well, it's going to take a little bit more to use an ATEM Mini or OBS with that RTMP compared to the InStream, and the InStream will be easier to use because it is just like using the Instagram app. As far as cameras go, there's a huge range of options, and I would probably start with something that's going to be easier to use rather than like best quality. I find that on even the GH5S, which is by no means the most expensive camera out there, but it is definitely expensive. Sometimes this even has more options than I want to use, than I care about. And I would rather have more automatic stuff, just like not have to worry about it. Just put the camera into full auto mode and just not worry about it. So a lot of the cameras I often recommend, like the Sony ZV-E10 or the A6400 even, are definitely going to be good enough for that kind of stuff. And the autofocus in those is good. But obviously the main thing you want to make sure is that you have a camera with clean HDMI out. Oh yeah, Charbax, the S5 Mark II has face detect autofocus. The S5 Mark II looks incredible. Definitely not an entry-level camera. Very expensive, but fantastic. I'm very excited that at least Lumix is getting better autofocus now, which is great. But I would not start with something like that because you really don't need to. As far as the mic goes, you can get a very long way with a small mic that you plug into the camera's mic jack. And for actually a really long time, I was just looking back at some of my studio tour videos about my live streams from when I started, because as I was thinking about all the reconfiguring the space, I was like, okay, what did I do before and how did it work? And I remembered for the longest time, I was actually using the little Movo. It was like a $40 microphone plugged directly into the camera. And the microphone, the key was that it was on a little arm sticking out in front of me, not as far away as the camera is. And it works surprisingly well. Like you can get a really long way with that. I don't think anybody would have expected that was the microphone I was using for the live streams. So that also simplifies because you don't need to power another device. You don't need to worry about setting levels on another device. It's nice when it's just all there. It's all just small little kit. And then lighting, again, you can go all over the place on lights. And I think I don't even know where would I start with lights. The good news is a lot of the ones I'm using around here now, there's a whole bunch of different brands that have things that are all good now. I feel like it wasn't the case 5 years ago where there was only a couple options or they were really expensive. So any lighting is better than none, frankly. So yeah. All right, let me keep going through. I see so many questions. I'm not gonna be able to get to all of them. Sorry. Oh, back to the web presenter. In your experience, is the web presenter more flaky than the ATEM Mini encoding? I don't know if I would say the encoding is more flaky. They seem to be the exact same as far as the way that they encode data. They're both variable bitrate, which is sometimes kind of annoying. The web presenter itself seems to freeze way more often than the ATEM Mini. I think my ATEM Mini has frozen like twice ever, but the web presenter freezes almost every week when it's just powered on all the time. The first layer says, does your chat plugin work with Restream? Mine does not, but Steve, who wrote video.ninja, also has. I always forget which one is the one he wants to send people to now because he has 2 versions of it. Social Stream, is that the one? I think that's the one that he wants people to use now. That's socialstream.ninja. It supports a bunch of different platforms beyond YouTube and Twitch even. Do I use mix effects with the Constellation? I don't have it up right now, one, because everything is moved around, but I sometimes use it because it's faster to change settings, especially super source. But I really like the audio follows video feature. I'm actually planning on setting that up in a little podcast set, which I'm going to try to build for the House Files channel. That's going to be upstairs. And then that's going to be a permanent fixture there because I want auto switching angles for the podcast video without having to edit all that. So yeah. Can you do a quick demo of how you back up and restore your amazing companion settings? Yes, it's all built in, which is nice. There is just a import export tab and you can just export everything and then restore it all if you want. And if you look down at the bottom corner, the address, if you actually want to automate it, you can just fetch that URL with a script and just archive it. So every day I have a script that goes and saves that off to a file. There's a giant folder full of snapshots of every day, the companion config. So if I wanted to, I could go back and restore last week's version really quickly if I somehow deleted something that was useful and I forgot about it. But yeah, very easy. Lynn says, thanks for trying. I did the latest update and it's still an issue. Oh, that's super annoying. I'm trying to use it for my wife's channel. Wanted to bring in guests on our locals feed. I'm really surprised. Yeah, well, I'll bring that up with them next time I chat with them because they should definitely fix that. Oh, adding to the Maddie question, how far are you along in setting that up? I'm in the. It is working. It is running. I'm definitely still getting my head around it all because it's kind of complicated. So Maddie is the thing that lets me extract audio from ATEM sources and pull them into the X32 mixer. So one of the things I started doing with it was, well, the setup of it is just like, it's super weird. It does it in like these blocks. So you can say that, yeah, so channels 9 through 32 are coming off of the Maddie card, which basically means I can't get access to the first couple of audio channels on the ATEM because they're in the 1 through 8. But also there's this weird thing where they seem to be doing it in like channel, because the mixer is not a stereo mixer, so every channel is just one channel. So camera 1, left and right, goes into channels 1 and 2, which I'm confused about because I thought I would have access to 32 or 30 of the ATEM's audio channels, but it looks like I only have access to 15 of them. Anyway, some of them are showing up, and what I have now is I have not done a good job of labeling my mixer, which I need to fix, but like you can see this, I think this is the wireless camera, but what I'm actually using it for is being able to hear. I have a submix created for the speakers in the room, so I can hear things like the countdown music or audio from a hyperdeck. So when I play the countdown music at the beginning of the stream or any of the sound effects, like the super chat sound effects, I want to hear those also, and I don't want to have to wear headphones where I hear myself. So I have a separate aux bus monitor, and you can see I've got super low a couple of the audio channels, which are actually from Maddie. So these are some of the ATEM's audio sources. Again, I have not labeled these, which I definitely should do because I'm already forgetting which ones these are. I'm pretty sure these two are here, I labeled these. These are OBS. So this is the Ultra Studio audio coming in here, where I can now listen to whatever is coming out of the coming out of the graphics that I use. So the countdown music and things like that. It's super cool. It's working. But I haven't figured out if there's a way to get me access to a bigger range of inputs, or if I'm just stuck with these, and then I have to figure out what I actually want in the end and probably rewire some of the jacks, because that is one of the limits, is that the physical jacks do matter in terms of what channels you can bring into the mixer. So, he meant video follows audio like Zoom. Oh yeah, I did mean video follows audio. Audio follows video is the normal one. Sorry about that. Okay, 10 minutes left. Where are, what do we got for the last 10 minutes? Oh, Raul says, is there another alternative than the X32 for audio with Maddie? You would just need to look for any audio mixer that supports Maddie or has a Maddie expansion card, which is usually how they work. There are some, but I think a lot of them are full-on like boards, and I don't really want a full-on board in here at all. I have it, you can see it's down in the rack. It's the one with the little blinky lights down there. And I don't want a full physical board in front of me. I want to just use it from the computer and to be able to automate it using Companion. So I can actually turn on and off channels in Companion, which is the reason I got the X32. Yes. Bailey, thank you. If you're interested in some of the newer Panasonic releases, Photo Joseph has been covering on his channel. Here's his channel. Yes, he is a great source of information about Lumix cameras. And reminding us to hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. Okay, I haven't seen any comments from Lily, so I assume that means her stream is going fine. So let me just let me also plug my shorts really quick. Not the clothes, but the videos. I have been experimenting with doing shorts. I started by pulling out segments from the live stream. The YouTube app on the phone gives you a way to actually clip bits out of a live recording or a video and post it as a short. They were doing okay, but as I was watching them back myself, I realized that, also I really hate that you can't set your thumbnail because that's just not a good face. One of the things I realized is that it's the pacing of a live stream versus a short just really aren't the same. And even these little bits that I found that were like, you know, highlights, I feel like didn't have the pacing I want out of a short video. So, this latest one, I filmed from scratch as a short. It is like written for that format. I'm pretty happy with it. It needs more views. Please go watch it. I'm gonna drop that link in. It will only take you like, what is it? 45 seconds, 30 seconds. It doesn't tell you the length on here. That's cute. Will not take you very long to watch it. Please go watch it. Tells you how to go live on Instagram with the ATEM Mini. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna try to do more of that kind of stuff. Probably taking the little bits and pieces out of the live stream that I thought were interesting, good questions or interesting demos, and then reshooting them, basically. So, yeah. That's my plan. We'll see how that goes. That's the first one. Let me know if you like that better than the other format, or the other like actually pulling clips out from the live stream itself. But yeah. Sorry to be blunt. Does anybody actually really care for shorts, or do they only get views because YouTube pushes them in the timeline on the mobile app? I mean, I personally like them because you can get a taste of the information faster than committing to watching a whole video. So I think it's a useful format. I think there is value there. I agree that there's a lot of crap content in shorts also, but that's also true everywhere else. But you know, you want to what would be a good one I could do from a question today? Backing up the companion settings, right? Michael asked earlier, can you back up and restore your companion settings? So I could do a quick demo of that, and that would be it would be way overkill to post that as a 3 or 5 minute video, right? I would have to like create so much filler content to get to 5 minutes. So why not just answer it quickly? Also, there was another good one here. Let me actually push that over so I don't forget about it. IT never gets old. On the PK1 Stands, the latest version allow you to easily remove the YoloBox Pro for grab and go use. That would be a great one, again, to show quickly how the stand works, right? What was another one? Oh, Keith's excellent question about making a super source with all the different status items. That'd be fun to show, right? That one may take more explanation, but at least I can get like you can get a taste of what's possible, right? So I think it's oh yeah, and Eric, great. YouTube short of the backup stream on YouTube. Why not? Totally. Do a quick demo of, I could condense it down to 30 seconds of, you know, you're pushing to the main feed, your encoder dies, go to the backup, all that. So I'm down for any content that is informative or entertaining. Yes. For now, no monetization on shorts. No, that is not true. It is officially launching in February 1st. So I had to just go and click the button for accepting the new terms to allow shorts to be monetized. And weirdly, I have now earned 3 cents on one, even though they said it wasn't going to start until February 1st. But if you look at oh, it's up to 14 cents. Look at that. Here are the stats from this actual short. 14 cents revenue on 459 views, which is actually not too bad, because if that number goes much higher, that can add up. So yeah, you can officially monetize shorts now, which is another motivating factor. Shorts are like movie trailers. Totally. Yeah. They're like, you know, it's great if you can have a short that is a short version of a longer video, so you can push people to watch the longer video if they want to learn more. The way that YouTube pushes the shorts on you is what's annoying. Yeah, I do agree that like you're scrolling through the normal feed and getting interrupted with YouTube pushing shorts that can be kind of frustrating. 4 minutes. Okay, let's go see if Lily's stream is online before we send everyone over there. It looks like it. Got the countdown running. Okay, all right. Wonderful. So in a little bit, Lily's going to go talk about housing prices over here. And this stream should auto redirect at the end. And yeah, looks like everything is fine on her end with the companion setup. We didn't need to make any last minute tweaks today, but maybe we can go creep in on her multi-view really quick. Let's see if that's, oh. Yep. Pull up the multi-view here. Looks like she is ready. 3 minutes till, oh yeah, she has a new overhead camera. It looks like that isn't set right. Hopefully she doesn't have to use it because the angle is a little bit off. It's been drifting, so I need to get stronger clamps. I have it on the microphone arm, and yeah, it looks like we need to tweak that a bit. But other than that, looks like things are good. So it was dropping down again. Yeah. No donuts today. Actually, the donut shop was closed apparently. YouTube is getting touchy about asking to like and subscribe and use emojis. Each one has been held for review. Well, thanks, Bailey, for letting those through. All right. We are going to wrap this up. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. And yeah, thanks again. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for tuning in every week. And do give this video a thumbs up. And watch my shorts, especially the latest one. You can ignore the old ones if you don't care about them. But I want to get those numbers up. I want to see if I can make some more here. So if you have any ideas for shorts you want to see, quick questions I can demonstrate, comment below. Leave them in the chat. Shorts for live stream fails will be fun. Could do that. All right. Thanks, everybody. I will see you all next week. And I'm going to finish setting up the studio here, hopefully clean up some wires. I'll be hanging out in the chat on Lily's stream next as well. So see you all over there. Bye.